Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. So glad you're here and hope you had a great holiday weekend. Today, Pam joins me and we take your listener questions. We talk about, well, the 4th of July for a girls trip down to Walt Disney World. Where should you go to get the most fun on the 4th of July holiday? Also to avoid the crowds the best way possible. We also talk about fireworks, dessert parties. Are they worth it? Which ones are the best? We have that discussion. And how about the best use of quick service dining plans when you're down this fall? We discuss that. And I also have a philosophical discussion about dining on Disney Cruise Line. Is it better to have a private table or to risk it and dine with other guests during your cruise? It's kind of a fun conversation. This and much more coming your way on today's show. Don't forget our podcast always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure. We're standing by right now to help you with that next trip for no additional cost to you. Check us out over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's one extra click that supports us throughout the year. beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so much for your support of us over on Patreon. You guys really do help us keep the show going. You can support us just $5 a month and you'll get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest every week. Coming over today over at patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2495 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great week. And today is the Wednesday that feels like a Tuesday because Tuesday felt like a Monday. And maybe we'll catch up by Friday, but who knows? But hey, greatest thing is summer is here in the United States of America. Sorry for all of our folks down in the Southern Hemisphere, but you guys were yucking it up while we were freezing here. So turnabout is fair play. But we're going to have a good time today answering your listener questions as we record this show live on all of our outlets like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Today is a European special. We're recording this one. It's a matinee here in the United States. Pam's joining me, and we're recording this one a bit early because we're under a little bit of a time crunch with the holiday. Monday, we couldn't record, so we're getting this one out just hours before publishing time. We're going to the presses real quick. So Pam Forrester joining me, co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel. Pam, how was the 3-day holiday weekend out in Pittsburgh?
We had a great time. We had a great holiday, saw some friends, did some stuff, all of that. But I will tell you, before the holiday weekend even started, I was already screwed up. I thought that Friday was Saturday.
Oh, dude,
so
you were so done already. You were toast. I'm so messed up today.
Exactly. Just forget it. And I'm leaving next week to do the Disney Cruise Line cruise, to Lookout Point and Castaway. So I should just forget trying to figure out what day it is until I get back home.
It's bizarre because, right. So Mallory, my youngest, her last day of school is Friday. So today's her first day, official summer break day. So she's already had somebody spending the night upstairs. So I hear them banging around upstairs. They've already been to Chick-fil-A for chicken minis. Of course, they rolled out of bed at like 11 o'clock because they went swimming late last night up at the country club. I mean, they're already living their best life, right? They've been on summer break for like 20 minutes and they're living. I mean, I'm like, you're living your best life. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. No two doubt about it. But the thing is too, like my wife, she teaches in a different district where I used to teach. Listen to this. Okay. So a lot of districts around here in the South Midwest, they're all out, Memorial Day, game over. And I know a lot of people up in the Northeast, you guys don't get out for another couple months, whatever. You guys, I don't know how you do that, but everybody else around here is out. She had to go back to school. Now today on Tuesday, teacher work day. Okay. So now picture this. The kids are out today for a teacher work day on Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day, where they were off as well on Monday. Now, Wednesday, it's the day the show comes out. They have to come back to school for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, full school days. How many of those kids do you think are going to come back to school after 2 days off?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like the rest of St. Louis is out. So I told Pam, good luck with that. And I'm really confused because I thought up until like last Friday that she was out too. So I was like, congratulations, you made it to summer. And the boy, I got a look from her when I said, congratulations, making it to summer break. She almost knocked me out. She's like, well, I have another week. I have a teacher work day. And I was like, oh, my bad. I got to work too. And I work Saturday and Sunday, so back off. So
It's rough.
Be careful when you speak to teachers this time of year. Make sure they're on break. Just saying. PSA. Yeah, exactly. Thomas says, happy Monday. I mean Tuesday. All right, let's get down to business. We have a question here. Matthew Wallace is joining us on Facebook. And he says, traveling June 12th to June 16th, staying at Pop Century with a 4-day park hopper and the quick service Disney dining plan. I'm planning to go to Docking Bay 7, but would love ideas for best use of quick service credits in the parks or at nearby resorts. Thank you. He's tuned in from Columbus, Ohio. Docking Bay 7 is an interesting place to eat. I went there twice in the past year and enjoyed it. It's pretty. It's got a great atmosphere, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. It's got a lot of good vegan items too. I'm not vegan, but I mean that's what I hear from everybody. If you're a vegan person, that is one of the places to go.
Yeah, agreed. They have lots of different choices, and I think the dining plan too. There's some real bargains, especially in the quick service realm, because you have to remember that quick service credit also includes a specialty drink that can be alcoholic or non-alcoholic, whichever you choose, but that can really increase the price or the value that you're getting in terms of the quick service locations.
So we're getting some feedback here over on YouTube. GB Wrap says gluten-free Ronto wrap is legit at Docking Bay. Docking Bay 7, also Ronto Roasters. So if you're into that, that's an option there. I'm trying to think of some great places to go on the quick service dining plan. Quick service locations in general, because you could, again, it depends what you order as far as, and again, this is just philosophical, right? With how you use your credits. I don't always go for and I think I did. Again, how you vacation at Walt Disney World evolves over the years. At first, I always used to try to order the most expensive thing to try to get, and I always perceive that as getting the best value out of my credits. But I've kind of moved on to, it's not always getting the most expensive thing on the menu. It's getting the thing I want the most, even if it is middle of the road in the pricing category, or even if it is one of the more better values on the pricing. If it's what I like,
right,
I'm going to enjoy it more. You know what I'm saying? So it's not always trying to stick it to the man to try to get the most, squeeze every dime out of that, out of the price point, which I used to do. I think it just evolves over the years. Don't you think that? I don't know. Maybe it changes.
It does. I think you can strike a good balance though, because there are some great places that I like to eat that are also great values in terms of the quick service meal, like Connections Eatery.
Oh, so good.
In Epcot, right? First of all, I know you and I both love that salad.
It's the General Tso's chicken salad.
Yes, but it's so good, right? It's such a great option. They also have that bistro burger, which is really a great option and value when you're using a quick service. They have great specialty drinks, something to think about there too. So lots of good stuff there. Also, the Cantina at San Angel also has some great options, because if you're looking for a drink, a margarita, they let you use your quick service credit, the drink be the margarita from.
And those are expensive. I mean,
they're really expensive.
They are expensive. I mean, I that's typically where I get mine at the end of the marathon. Dude, they're like $15 or something, between like 10 and 14. They're I mean, hey, inflation, people. I'm just saying,
right.
They're expensive.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Of course, I know we all like over at Animal Kingdoms, the Thule Canteen. Again, those are some great options there. Everything, we have there is good, and they have lots of things from which to choose, lots of different options. I think just about everyone can find something there. Of course, you have Pecos Bill. I think that's a good use of your credit. And over at Disney Springs, there's some good choices too. I think, what am I thinking? Chicken Guy. I think that's a choice.
Is Polite Pig a good option? I would say that is always, right?
Is that one still available as a quick service?
I don't know, but
I think it is.
I think it is. If it is, that is definitely.
Yeah, because that's a great bargain. That's a good one too. Deluxe Burger, I think, is a
Yes,
great one
that's a good
too.
one too.
And the bakery in France, I think, can be a good option there, depending on what you order. But lots of good stuff there. I mean, there's something in every park that you can use it for that I think is a really good value. So.
Captain Mike down in Vero Beach. He's on vacation, but he's working for us today, and he says Harambe Market has really stepped up their game.
You're right. That is absolutely true.
Like it. Look at that, on vacation and still helping us out. Okay, we have a lot of questions coming in live today, so we are going to get through them quickly. So here we go, Pam. Let's go on over to Instagram.
All right.
Stacy F. Mosley says, I have one day in the parks and my kids want to ride Tron and Guardians. Which one should I try for at the 7 a.m. time? Is Tron easier in the morning? What do you think? Tron easier than Guardians in the morning at 7 a.m. Which one's easier?
To get, is it, I'm just confused, and I want to make sure I'm making the most recommendation. Like, do you want to
I'm guessing
ride
virtual queue, I'm guessing.
Okay, but that's what, they're in two different parks. So
I'm guessing
you're
they're saying it doesn't say, but I'm guessing, it's hard to follow up here on Instagram because the comments come in a little bit differently. But which one would you go for? If the kids are excited to ride both, which one do you think would be the more sure thing? Let's just say that. I'd say Tron.
Probably Tron. Yeah,
that's what I would
probably
say.
Tron. And just to note, like, you will need, figure out like which one you want to do. But yes, I would say probably Tron for sure. As far as that goes. But yeah, if you want to do both, you'll have to have a park hopper for that day.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're only looking to do one of them, then I think Tron would be your best option for the day.
Correct. And Rebecca Speaks over on Instagram says, what are the chances that Tiana's will be open to guests at the after hours event? The day before it is scheduled to open, considering adding on the party the night before we go on our cruise? Doubtful.
Yeah, I say that too. They're usually they stay within their opening thing. They used to do sort of a soft opening. Remember that, where you could sort of hang out near the entrance and see, but I think that got crazy because, of course, as soon as the soft opening was open, someone would post it on social media and there were millions of people, well, not millions, but just waiting right there to see. So not as good.
I was just watching Titanic the other day on the treadmill, and when they let like the Titanic sinking, and like they did pry open the gates and let like one woman and children through, and then Leonardo DiCaprio and the other Irish dude with the life vest on ended up getting shot later. He started storming the gates, and you let one person through, and everybody starts storming the castle. You can't let it happen.
True.
Somebody will end up getting shot trying to jump in a lifeboat. So can't happen. I saw the movie. I'm telling you, can't happen.
Well, hopefully that doesn't happen.
Exactly.
That would be a story.
Well, I mean, we don't need, there's no Titanic, I hope. There's no icebergs in that attraction. I mean, we don't know. It hasn't opened yet. I mean, I don't think there's icebergs in the story, but hey, twist. That'd be a twist, right?
It would be.
Dude, you come around the corner and like, iceberg dead ahead. You're like, where was that in the movie? Where was that? I don't remember that at all. Exactly. I thought it was just frogs and like saxophones.
I thought it was hot.
Exactly. Where did we turn left? Did we turn left in Florida? I thought we were in Louisiana.
It's a whole different story.
Exactly. It's part two. Okay. Thomas Perk says, my wife cannot travel without her hairdryer. Oh, Lord. I know you, because my wife was the same way. I know how this is going to end. My wife cannot travel without her hairdryer for our upcoming cruise. I know the ship's electrician has to approve the hairdryer before she can use it on board. How does that process work? I don't know, but my wife got hers confiscated.
They take it from
you. They do, because my wife lost hers. Yes.
They will take it from you, and then if it's approved, they'll give it back to you. I think one of the best things that you're going to want to do is, if it has that like UL listed sticker still on it, that helps them, I think, in the process of that. But other than that,
I don't know. I didn't even know that was the thing. Like, I just know my wife got hers nabbed. She tried. It didn't work.
And they took it from her and didn't give it back?
Well, they when you get off the ship, I think there's like an unclaimed.
Oh, well, yeah, you can get that.
And
but
I think
usually they'll give it to you like the first night or something.
No, I think you get it after, right? Then they're like you get your confiscated stuff when you get back at the port. And
no, so if it's approved, they'll take it from you, and if it's approved, then they'll give it back to you.
No, we didn't ask about it. It just got nabbed out of our luggage.
Okay. But and then they put in a little certificate, right? A little piece of paper that said you can pick this up afterwards or
I think
whatever.
so. I totally, I did. It was in her suitcase, and I didn't say any word about it because I didn't want to be the illegal one. I told her.
So
not to
there
bring
is a
it.
way that things can get approved, and then they'll give them back to you like after that first night that you'll have it. But yes,
I told her.
I
not to bring
travel with mine all the time.
it. Okay.
So
All right. Catherine says, "Good luck with that." I told my wife, "Don't bring it; you'll be fine." But yeah, no. Hey, Mike and Pam, what's the best view of fireworks for kids that are seeing them for the first time, willing to pay for a dessert party or meal at Ohana, etc., not to have to get a spot early? Pam, you love the dessert parties.
I do. Catherine, I have a husband who doesn't like to wait in line or wait standing there for an hour prior to the fireworks. We do the dessert party. With the dessert party, you can either have one that is in that covered area, sort of at Tomorrowland Terrace, which I don't think offers the best viewing, I will say. For me, I like one of the parties that has you go to that garden area either prior to the dessert party or after the dessert party. You can choose based on what works best for your family. So
Very good. And I like that because if it's a first time viewing, especially for kids, it's worth it, right? I mean, plus,
I agree.
it's
yes.
a VIP experience. I mean, you're looking at the great view of the fireworks, which is special. But I mean, when you get the desserts on top of it, again, we've said this for, going on 16 years, time is money, like having a steak out 90 minutes, 2 hours, that's 2 or 3 attractions at the Magic Kingdom.
It is. And it's hard. It literally is hard. I think, for a lot of people to stand there for the time, like when you're walking around the parks, it's very different than just standing in one place for a period of time. So I think that's a consideration as well.
I tell that to my wife all the time. When we're on vacation, standing kills my body. Like walking, I can walk miles and miles and miles and my body feels okay. But when I stand, like if you go to like you said, like a parade or something like that, or like when we go to a concert or something, or with Mallory, like back when we used to go to those cheerleading competitions, there's just so much standing all day because you're standing to like wait to get in the venue. Then you're standing to wait to watch her perform. And there'll be days where you'll stand just waiting around for like maybe 3, 4, 5 hours. Those days my back is locked up, my legs kill me. And I'm like, I don't feel this bad after a marathon. I don't think people realize, and I think you just nailed it. Like when you're on vacation at Walt Disney World, standing in line, no kidding, it puts more of a toll on your body, I think, than the miles you walk throughout the whole entire vacation. It's more standing. So I think you need to take sit breaks.
Yeah, I think you just use like a different set of muscles or something.
Totally.
I don't know. Right. So
I'm either moving or I'm sitting. I'm not standing. And I probably should. I don't know. Maybe I should. I don't know. Who knows? I was going to say something, but I'm not going to go there. Okay, so practice standing. I'm not going to do that. Okay, so, and shout out to Rob, who's tuned in from the pool at the Grand Floridian. Okay, so Captain Bankhead tuned in from Vero Beach, and Rob tuned in from the pool at the Grand Floridian. We're doing something wrong, because I'm tuned in from my podcast studio in St. Peters, Missouri. You guys are all killing it, and we're here giving content from my basement in Missouri. You guys are winning. I love this though for you guys. I'm jealous. Let's see here. Ash Lands over on Instagram says, just landed back home an hour ago after a long weekend at Disney. How do I cure the post Disney blues? It never seems like enough time. That's simple. Book the next trip. Right?
Yes, that's always the answer.
And DZAC 1717 cruise question. We're sailing the Fantasy right after you. Will there be any ice cream left on the ship? Doubtful.
What ice cream flavor are you getting, Mike?
So I always get the swirly, the chocolate and vanilla swirl up on deck 11. Forward, the soft serve machine. I tear that thing up. We do pack toppings sometimes to bring.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And Pam has told me this is the Midwestern splurge right here in us, right? We've been walking a couple miles around the lake every night. Like that's, the weather's gotten better. And so we talked during that time. And so She told me, this time, Mike, we're going to get ice cream from the Pay ice cream place during this cruise. Because it's a 7-night cruise, right? We got 3 sea days.
Yeah.
She's like, is it Vanellope's or is it Sweet on You? I was like, I don't care what it is. We're going to get... I was like, it's one of the two. I don't know what the name of it is. It's one or the other. But I'm like, one night we're going to have a date night. We're going to go to the ice cream. We're going to go to the Pay ice cream scoop, the hard ice cream. That's what we call it. I don't know if that's what you guys call it in Pittsburgh, but like we call that kind of ice cream that you scoop it like Baskin Robbins. That we're going to the hard ice cream place and getting scoops. So, it's going to be a big date night. Besides Paolo, one night we're doing a big date night at
the ice cream place.
Yeah, at the ice cream parlor. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. All right, we have another question. Let's get over here. Yeah, I know. We live large around this place.
Are you living on the edge?
Exactly. We're going to pay $5 for ice cream.
Right.
Let's see. Hey, BOGP crew. Love the podcast. Even when I'm not planning a trip, it's fun to listen to the 4 of you having a good time and chatting with guests. We appreciate that. My 15-year-old daughter and I are going to Disney World for 4 nights over the Labor Day weekend. She really wants to do the Hollywood Studios After Hours event on August 29th. The problem is that our plan lane's at 6:50 p.m., so the timing is tight. We plan on taking an Uber from the airport and won't have a lot of stuff, probably just big backpacks. Should we go straight to the park and put our bags in a locker? I know they have lockers, but I don't know where they are or if they're big enough for a big backpack. We're staying at the Dolphin, so getting to Hollywood Studios is easy, but I don't want to waste a bunch of time checking in. Any other tips to make the most of after hours at Hollywood Studios? Also, we're going to rope drop Magic Kingdom the next morning to take advantage of the lower daytime crowds on a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party day. So by the middle of Friday, we'll be exhausted. Any recommendations for a relaxed early dinner at or near the Dolphin? It could be anywhere on the boardwalk, or it could be anywhere on the boardwalk. Or should we Uber over to Animal Kingdom Lodge to eat at Sanaa? We're both adventurous eaters, but not particularly into meat, so things like steakhouses are out. Thanks, Aaron. Well, Aaron, thanks for the kind words about the show, and you guys are going to have an awesome trip. I love this mother-daughter trip. So first of all, what about this amazing race style swinging over to after hours right after the... I mean, first of all, you know, as long as the plane's on time, I think you can do it. You got to kind of be flexible on, you know, have a backup plan in case you get delayed with the flight, especially that time of year.
Agreed. And just know that like the tickets to these are non-refundable.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Yep.
So if your plane's late and you're not there on time or even in time to even attend the event, that's something to consider. I don't know whether I'd chance it or not on my first night. I'm just going to be honest. Even if I had a flight that landed at 3:00, I'm not sure if I would chance it. Just giving but if you're okay with that kind of uncertainty, then go for it. I'll let you know that they do have 2 sizes of lockers at most of the parks. Now, they have larger lockers available at Magic Kingdom and Epcot only, the jumbo size, but at the other park locations, they have large lockers and they're 15 by 13 by 17. So that gives you an idea on size. Not sure if it will accommodate your large backpack or not. And I will also say, you know, for my family, even though we are in the Orlando airport frequently, I always underestimate the amount of time it takes us to get off the plane and get to our rental car, from whether I'm taking luggage or not. So maybe you do the same, or maybe you're more realistic than I am. I don't know, but it always takes us longer. It just does. The taxiing, the getting everyone off the plane, when the people who are like 3 seats in front of you are inevitably taking forever to get their. I'm like, did you know what we were doing here?
Those people are always in front of me. I can't believe they're in front of you too, because they're always in front of me. I'm like, how many? It's like you know, it's like clowns coming out of a Volkswagen, out of the overhead bin. I'm like, Dude, I know only 2 bags are in that thing. How are 17 bags coming out of this overhead bin? It's like a magic trick. Come on now.
But then there's always that person who, like, it's a surprise when they get to their, oh yeah, I got to get all my crap from the pocket and whatever. I don't know. I'm always like, my stuff's out of the pocket.
Dude.
My bag is here. I'm ready to go. I'm ready. All I have to do is grab my crap from the overhead
Let's
thing.
roll,
and
I've been, you know, since the first, like, I felt the plane start to descend. I'm like, I'm collecting I'm getting myself ready to
100%.
descend out of this plane. Like, right? Like, and I don't know what you've been doing for the last 35 minutes as my ears have been popping, but let's roll, people. Let's all get on the same page here. Let's go.
I know, it's like they need to make that announcement. Like, be careful. Things in the overhead bins could have shifted.
and pay
By
attention.
now, you should have already collected your stuff from the pocket and put it back in your bag, and you should be ready to go when it's your time.
The flight attendants should say that when they're picking up the soda cans, when they're going up and down the bag. Like, hey, man, you guys, you're just sitting there watching your movie still. Like, put the movie away. Pick up your stuff.
I know. So anyways, all those things. You will be, if you pull this off, I want to know. You have to come back and tell us because I want to hear about it, how it all goes. But yeah, sounds like you have a really fun trip where you're cramming a bunch of stuff in, and I love it.
And shout out to Cheshire Disney Danny, who's tuned in this afternoon over in the Netherlands as we do a matinee show or a primetime show for our folks over in Europe today. So
right.
That's pretty darn cool. All right, let's get to another question here. So that was for Aaron or Erica. Let's see here. Krista's got a question. Hey, Mike, I'm your friend Krista from Richmond, back again with another listener question. My family's headed down to Disney World the first weekend in October to attend our first ever Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. We're so excited for the party. I'm headed down to Walt Disney World the day before the rest of my family, so I'll have about 24 hours to myself. This is going to be my first time going solo, and I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of excited to do whatever I want. My question for you and the BOGP gang is, if you had one solo day, what would be some of your must-dos? For my solo night, I'll be staying at Art of Animation. My flight gets in around 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday, October 3rd, and my family doesn't arrive until about noon the next day. We have tickets to the Halloween party on October 4th, so I think I might want to skip Magic Kingdom for my solo day and focus on another park or parks because I'm an annual pass holder. I'm open to all dining and park suggestions for my single solo day. In my head, I've titled it Krista's Disney Day of Fun. She's already got a title. I love it.
I like it.
It's May. She's already titled her October Fun Solo.
Every day should have a title.
Yeah, it should. I know, totally. I mean, we've titled this the European special, so there you go. Thanks so much, Krista. Okay, real quick though, we didn't give dining suggestions for the last one. I just thought about that. Around the Dolphin, I'm totally intrigued by that new Mexican restaurant over. It's in the Dolphin, right? It's Rosa Mexicana, I think it's called, or something like that.
It's getting good reviews.
It's getting great reviews in our Discord. People are talking about it, and I'm dying to go. I'm not going to make it when we're down on July 5th because we're doing a birthday dinner for my mother-in-law because like they're going on the Wish and we're going on the Fantasy, but everybody's going to be there on the 5th while we're there the day before our cruise. Where I think my sister-in-law's like, do it. I'm like, man, I want to go to Splitsville and see the drone show. But I hope nobody's listening to this podcast. But that was like my plan, right? I had it all laid out. And I mean, I love my mother-in-law, so we'll go wherever. Or Olivia's, because we're staying in Old Key West. But, yeah, so, I was like so high on my radar. But that's a place that looks extremely good right there. It's either, I think it's in the Dolphin. If not, it's in the Swan. But I think it's in the Dolphin.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice. And I think, too, I prefer, if I'm going to a table service restaurant, the resort locations as opposed to the in-park locations. I think that they're a better experience. So I think anything that you can find in the resorts there, we talk about Ale and Compass. We love Ale and Compass. There is, I'm trying to think what else they talked about going to Sanaa, which I think is always a great choice too. I mean, the bread service alone, right? And
it's like an experience just to go to the lodge. Like it's not just dinner. Like you could hang out there and like, spend an extra hour and see the animals, right? It's you get to have more than just dinner. You could if you're full, you can walk around and explore the resort a little bit to kind of burn it off.
Agrees, and we'd be remiss if we didn't name some of the awesome choices at Disney Springs. I mean, there's so many great choices, from Polite Pig, which is a sort of combo quick service table service location to Morimoto's, which has great food, Homecoming. There's so many that we like there. Raglan Road, the Boathouse. Have I named every single one because they're all that great. So
yeah, so you got good stuff. Okay, so back to Kristen's day of fun. I mean, because it's named. It's October 3rd. But nobody can join Kristen because it's Kristen's solo day of fun. So back
right,
off.
yeah, I hear you.
This is not duo day of fun, dual day of fun. This is solo. I mean, the only person that could join Kristen on this day is Han. That would be the only one. I worked hard on that one during the last comments. Okay, so I would start the day at Epcot. I think Epcot's a fun solo place to go because there's a lot of time where you can. So I still want to say Future World, but I would do, again, this is the beauty of solo. And you and I do a lot of solo trips because we go down for stuff like openings and things like that. Yeah, I go for running events. And the beauty of a solo trip is you can be selfish without feeling guilty, right? I just do my favorites, period. Like, if I don't want to do something, I do not even, it never crosses my mind. I don't have to worry about what Mallory likes, Paige likes, Pam likes, nothing. I only do my favorite things. And so, like, I don't know that Pam is a huge fan of Living with the Land. I am. So guess what? I'll ride it first thing, and I'll catch any flack for that. It's the bomb. So I go on Living with the Land. I do Spaceship Earth. I don't do Frozen Ever After. I'll do it when the family's there. It's fine, but I don't need to do that when I'll do Three Caballeros or whatever it's called nowadays. I love that ride, but nobody else. They think I'm dumb for liking that ride. Nobody makes fun of me. I'm by myself. So I would just go and do. This is the beauty. Just go to the park that you love and do. It's so you trim the fat. You just do what you like for the whole day, especially with AP. Go to your favorite restaurant. Just have your favorites. I mean, it's an all-star day. It's the world's your oyster that day.
I agree. I think that's a great, that's a great way to think about it. And I agree. I would start in Epcot too, because Epcot happens to be my favorite park. It's a place that I could go walk around and do nothing and still be nothing in terms of riding an attraction, experiencing a show, whatever, and still just have a great time being there. I like the background music. You'll run into entertainment. That new space in Epcot is gorgeous. I could grab a Starbucks and sit there and watch that happen for quite a while. There's going to be that new section, the Communicore sort of section is opening again, so you'll be able to see that. I think just enjoying all of that is just a great way, and that's always how I'd spend my day. And dining, I would just, pick something that I really enjoyed. You could pick something in Epcot, like something easy like Via Napoli, right? Pizza. Who doesn't like pizza? Or you would go to something that's more interactive and fun, and even where you'd be sitting with other people, and that'd be at Beer Garden.
Yeah, I did that as a solo, and I had the best meal ever. Like you think because 10 years ago, I had never done that. Like I just wouldn't have. And I took a chance that day. I was like, I love the food there, but I'm like, I'm by myself. Should I? I was like, yeah, I really want that food. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to. And I ended up sitting there with people that listened to the show. It was so weird. Like, because they saw the logo on my pop socket and they're like, do you listen to that show too? I'm like, yeah, I do. And then they heard my voice.
You're like, well, while I'm recording it, I do.
I know. They're like, you listen to the BR Guest podcast? I'm like, I do listen to the BR Guest podcast. They heard my voice. They're like, are you Mike? I'm like, yes, I am. And so they were having the best time the rest of the meal. And it was a good time, right? And I mean, opportunities, pop up all the time. Like, you ride in the Skyliner, you get to just have conversation. It could be somebody from your town sitting across from you and you have no idea. Or it could be somebody from the other side of the world, but you have something in common. Phantasmic's your favorite nighttime show. It's just, don't, I know introverts kind of have a hard time with this, but if you just like a nugget of a conversation, you can have the best day with other people, even though you're solo.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's always something to keep in mind. Like you're there with like people. It's not like you're walking into a party with your spouse where they know everyone and you know no one, right? And you're dreading that all day. You're walking into a place where everyone else who's there likes Disney to some degree too. So you already have something in common.
So let me ask you about this, because you know my family. Okay, so this is like last week at dinner. So we're talking about the cruise, right? Because we're excited for it and all this. And Pam said something that kind of disappointed me, my Pam. And we're talking about dinner, right? And because we're a party of 5 now, right? Because I'm bringing my nephew or my niece, and it's, you know, the 4 of us and my niece. And I said, I don't know how I brought it up, but I said, you know, I love dinners because you get to have all these fancy foods you never get to have at home. I was talking about my ahi tuna because the grosses all the 3 of them out. They don't eat seafood. I'm like, I love it, you know, in Enchanted Garden with the little wasabi. I'm like, I always like choke on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's so hot. Anyway, and I was like, you know, it's always fun meeting other people, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, you didn't request a private table? I'm like, no, I didn't request a private table. I was like, we never request a private table. She's like, oh, well, there's going to be 5 of us this time. I'm like, that's 1 extra person. Like, is that a problem? Oh, I think we should request a private table. I'm like, okay. So I did request a private table because she's my wife, you know, and like happy wife, happy life, right? But I mean, it's one of those things. Like I'm kind of sad because I do like hanging out with other people. Like I haven't told her this, and I know she never listens to the show, so it's a safe place. So if anybody sees Pam, don't tell her. But how do you feel about that? Like I enjoy the camaraderie of table mates on a cruise, but I understand like if I go to Texas Roadhouse, I really don't want to sit down with other people. I mean, I get it. That's kind of how she feels. Like she doesn't want to sit with like, you know, Texas Roadhouse, like sit you down in the middle of like, you know, a bunch of cowboys or something, you know, I don't know.
I think it's interesting because at different times, and maybe this is a teacher thing, because I know at different times, Hannah gets home and she's like, I don't want to talk to anybody else.
I think that's it because she's a teacher, right? I'm always by myself constantly.
Right?
Like there's nobody here ever. So I'm dying for people to talk. I think you just nailed it. She's around people all day, every day.
Exactly. People who are asking her questions and want her to do things and whatever. So the last cruise we were on, it was just me, Steve, and Hannah. And it wasn't a Disney cruise. It was a Royal Caribbean cruise. And we had reserved a really nice stateroom because I knew. And so that meant we had access to the suite deck on Royal Caribbean where there aren't a lot of people. So we don't have to fight for seats and stuff like that by the pool and whatnot, because I knew Hannah was like, I just want to go. I want to read a book. I want to have people not ask things of me or whatever. So I do get that. But yeah, I think that's what happens. I think teachers have used up all their patience and friendliness throughout the day.
You just nailed it, because I've been wondering about that since she said that for a week. Because, you know, like I, of course, went online and clicked the little box because, you know, on the website, there's like for the just inside baseball, the travel agents can go. There's like a thing. It says special requests, and you know, one of them's a little box. You click, it says private table, and so I clicked it. It was just like, it's like, God, you know, because I still remember like some fun stories of random people that you meet. Because I will say, Disney Cruise Line, I don't know how they do this, but they seem to pair you up with, like, if you're a honeymooning couple with like other honeymooning couples or families that have kids of similar ages, and we've never been partnered with other people that we like butt heads with. You know, it's always been like very similar backgrounds for some reason. They're good with that.
Agreed. It's just that kind of thing that I think that you just, again, like we talked about, you're meeting like people. Yeah. It's that kind of thing.
Because you talk about like what you did that day, you know, like if you're like saying, you know, we're going like in Tortola, we're planning on zip lining. That's our port adventure for the day. So I could imagine, you know, somebody else might be going on like a run tour, right? You could drive Jeeps that day around the island or something. So then you come back to dinner, you hear about what they did and how cool it was. We could share like, you know, it was like the zip line, and, you know, while you're having a great meal, and, you know, hey, see you tomorrow, you know, have fun. And I've always enjoyed that about cruising, but we'll see. We'll meet people. I mean, I sound like I'm going to be lonely, right? I mean, you meet people at the tastings. You meet people.
By night 3, you'll be with another family. So.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'll make it. And I've already told her, like, hey, you working on your pirate costume? She's like, you're doing that again? I'm like, yes, I am. Got the wig ready. I'll get my money's worth. I'm just saying, I'm like a kid. I love it. Ashley's got a question. Hey, Mike, wanted to see the BOGP cruise thoughts about fireworks parties at the Magic Kingdom. I'm trying to decide between the 3 options available and hoping to get the cruise pros and cons on each choice. Is treats and seats really worth the upcharge? Is it better to have food and beverage before or after the fireworks? Thanks for everything y'all do and all your positivity you bring to the Disney community, Ashley. So again, we kind of just talked about this, Ashley, is that time is money. And I mean, you can kind of roll your own if you're willing to invest the time. You know, you could get, an ice cream at the Main Street, ice cream plaza there and do that afterwards or before the fireworks. I mean, I'll be honest, I've done that. It just depends on, do you want to have that VIP locked in guaranteed seat without the hassle? It's just like anything else in life. You're paying for access. I mean, that's just kind of how the world works. It's like when you go to a Cardinals game, access, right? And exclusivity, and just, you're going to have, nobody's going to obstruct you. You're going to be fighting and like guarding your ground for 2 hours outside of that, right, Pam?
Yeah. And you do have the 2 different choices. So you do have the location that does include the seating. And you have the location. So you sit during the fireworks, and you do have the gardens choice too, where you can either have you can go to the dessert party before or after the fireworks. I will tell you, we tend to choose the one that is after the fireworks because it feels more relaxed. We can still go into that closed off area and grab some turf for a little bit, right? When the fireworks come on, of course, everyone stands up, but you're still in that area. And then we do the dessert party after. But that's going to make for a late night. And if you have little ones, you may want to have the dessert party, have those dessert treats first, and then go to the location where you'll be. But I prefer the one that does not have the seats available during the fireworks, because that is in that Tomorrowland Terrace location. And there is actually a roof there. Yeah. And depending on where you're seating, you may not have a great view of all the fireworks. It is a very good view. I'm not saying that it's not, but I prefer the other one. It's sort of a more centrally on view too.
I agree. Okay, last question of the day comes from Bree in Springfield, Illinois, land of Lincoln. It says, hey, Mike and BOGP crew, I just booked a spur of the moment girls trip with my mom and 7-year-old daughter as a Mother's Day gift / 60th birthday celebration for my mom. We're going over the 4th of July holiday, and I'm trying to decide between spending the holiday at the Magic Kingdom or Epcot. Looking at the crowd predictions online, it looks like Epcot is predicted to be busier on July 4th in the Magic Kingdom. I've never been on the day of the holiday, but this is the opposite of what I expected. Does this seem to hold true in your guys' past experience? Are the July 4th fireworks at Magic Kingdom worth seeing over Happily Ever After? Any can't miss experiences for the holiday at either park that you'd recommend? Thanks so much for all you guys do. I love listening to your show for a sprinkling of Disney magic during my week. Bree. Thanks so much, Bree. We appreciate that very much. I used to go to Springfield Cardinals games when I was a kid. There used to be a AA team for the Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals. Okay, so 4th of July, fireworks, Epcot. Epcot has the best. I mean, we used to always do, Pam, we've been down there many, many years together. Magic Kingdom on the 3rd, because they do the fireworks. They do the 4th of July fireworks on the 3rd and the 4th at both parks, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yep. So go ahead.
And the crowd predictors are just that, predictors. You'll, depending on which one you're looking at, you're literally going to find one that says Magic Kingdom's going to be busier, and you'll find one that says Epcot's going to be busier. But I'll tell you the truth, if between a 10 and a 9 and even an 8 on many of the crowd predictors, you can't really tell the difference. They're both going to be busy. It's the 4th of July. And you know that. So what we typically do is what Mike said. We always do the 3rd at Magic Kingdom, then the 4th at Epcot. And the reason why we do the 4th at Epcot is even if Epcot's going to be busier, which we had a guest call in or write to us a couple weeks ago where they said the predictor calendar that they were looking at said Epcot was going to be busier on the 4th. It doesn't feel quite as busy because you're in Epcot and it's much larger and you have more room to move around. But regardless of wherever you're going to be, make sure that you have a dinner reservation in place for that location. Right?
You want to get a
the
dinner reservation. It's 60 days at around for 4th of July. It say between 3 and 5:30 at Epcot. I mean, doesn't matter where, just somewhere in Epcot somewhere. Just get it because you want to be off your feet. It could be really hot that day, just so you can have an hour and a half of air conditioning that day. And that refreshes you and powers you through to the fireworks.
Right.
Honestly, God, we've done it so many times.
I know. And I would get Genie Plus that day too, I will say, just so I can stack some reservations to be in that evening spot there, the late afternoon. People always are like noon. It feels so hot. No, it's 3 to 6 o'clock. It feels so hot. And that's what I want to make sure that I have the opportunity to do that. Another thing that you can do is if you're going to mobile order early in the day for the time that you would like to pick it up, because things will start getting crazy. And it will be the next available time to pick something up will be an hour and 45 minutes away. So
Christmas Eve.
Yes, exactly. So we're giving you the real tips here because we're talking about how you're going to get something to eat and something to drink, and how you're going to be able to see the shows inside the air conditioning. So, and by the way, if you're at Epcot on a day that's hot, the Living Seas is the place to be. I'm saying, I think I could find a place in a corner to sit and fall asleep in the Living Seas, and I would not be the first nor the last.
No, that and the 4th and New Year's Eve. Yeah, totally, 100%. Yeah, New Year's Eve. I remember getting white rice in China just because it was the only place I could find food, and it was glorious. I didn't care. I just wanted anything to eat, and in the fast food in China was the shortest line, and it was 45 minutes, but I did not care, and it was so tasty. And I was also looking for the quickest bathroom because the bathroom lines were so crazy on that New Year's Eve. That was a crazy one. That was the year I had the Chewbacca hat, because it was the year that Marathon Weekend overlapped with New Year's, and the whole planet was at Epcot that night. But 4th of July is super similar. It's just instead of being cold, it's hot. And I don't know if hot's worse, but we've done Chefs de France many years. For some, I don't know why, a few years in a row, we've always ended up at Chefs de France on the 4th of July. Weird, but good. And I've always had steak and potatoes there, and it's good. It's not a bad little place to be, actually, on the 4th of July. So I've enjoyed that. And also, I might have misspoke. Yeah, they only do the 4th of July fireworks at Epcot on the 4th. But at the Magic Kingdom, they do them on the 3rd and the 4th. So clarification.
And they have that good tag on them at the 4th at Epcot.
The ground shakes. It's something you really need to experience. It's awesome. It is so cool. So make sure you do that. So thanks to GB Wraps there. Okay, so I think that's going to do it for today. We'll be back on Friday with the crew. So join us for that. Now, tomorrow we're going to have something really special. Now, I've talked to the patrons about this, and we didn't have a live call-in show for a couple of reasons on Sunday night. First of all, it's holiday weekend. Second of all, the power went out here because we had horrible storms around St. Louis all weekend. I don't know if you saw the Cardinals-Cubs game. It was delayed. There were just terrible rains in St. Louis during the game time. They had tornadoes touch down all around us in St. Louis. Luckily not here at where we live, but in the adjacent county. Our power was out for a while, right around the time of the show was supposed to start. Plus, I'll be honest, Scotty G was in town. We went out to dinner, so we caught that right after that amount of time. But after that, I brought Scotty and my good friend Jared back to the studio. They had never seen the studio. They came in. I let them play around in the studio. They wanted to sit in the big chair. They wanted to talk into the big microphone. We went live for a little bit that night. We recorded it. So tomorrow on the feed, you're going to get to hear Scott, Jared, and I speak with everybody. There's some Disney talk in there because we asked people about their upcoming trips. But if you just want to hear three guys having a good time, that's what we're going to put on the feed tomorrow. So it's not your normal call-in show, but it's going to be just three guys having a good time. So it's only about 20, 25 minutes. So just something to listen to since we don't have a call-in show on to hit the feed on Thursday. So it is different. I'll give you that. But if you don't like it, just skip it. And Friday we'll have a normal show for you. So just bear with us on that. I thought some people might, everybody's saying, that tuned in on Sunday Night Live, put it on the feed. It was awesome, but it might not be your cup of tea, but it's nothing that you wouldn't, I don't know. It's just a bunch of dudes being dudes. So we'll just kind of hang out. We kind of hung out and just took comments on all the places. And Scott liked using the soundboard a lot. He liked hitting the bell and stuff like that. So I mean, it's like we all turned 12 for 20 minutes. So if that's your cup of tea, just you might like it, and some people might be like, "Oh my God, grow up." So I'll put a warning on it before I'll give you a heads up at the beginning of the show. So that's hitting the feed tomorrow. So just so you know. All right, don't forget our show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney trip. We're standing by right now over at themagicforless.com, and I just want to say thank you to all of our guests. I don't say that enough, but if you've booked with us, thank you for that. I love doing this each and every day. We've had so many great guests come back from their trips, and we see that on the social media, Pam, I saw just the other day. And we see this, these posts of pictures on Instagram, and just amazing, little kids with their smiles, with balloons and treats and families. Isn't that awesome when they get back and you get to see just memories made? That's what it's all about.
It is. It's the best. And we love when they send them into us because we post them on the Magic for Less Travel Instagram. So there's some good stuff there. I love seeing it.
Me too. So we want to help you do that too, because it's all about making memories. You never regret taking that trip. So come on over to the magicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. I just bought another phone case because my pop socket broke. So it's like a cascading thing, right? It wasn't the pop socket didn't even break, but it kind of gave up the ghost. Like it wanted the thing stopped supporting my phone. So I got to have it for the cruise so I can, watch it, I don't know, on the plane so I can, whatever. Anyway, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon when you have to buy stuff that you shouldn't have to buy a second time. But if you do, please use our link. And then patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. You want to support us starting at just $5 a month. We appreciate that so much. It helps us pay for everything like the video hosting, the podcast hosting, all that stuff. You get a bonus show every week also called Mike in the Midwest. Come on over. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give us a follow on the social media. Pam's at TMFLT Pam. Ricky's at RIKKI and IBS. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike, and Scott's at Ep Scott. Give the crew a follow, and most importantly, join us in the Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse. Free for everybody. We have a good time talking Disney 24/7. It's over at beourguestpodcast.com/Discord. Come on over. All right, we'll be back again on Thursday and Friday with some more new content for you. But until then, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.